Hey guys, and welcome back. We're back with another math lesson for you today. We always start out with our 24, but before we get to that, this is going to be 11-5, area using fractions. So we'll go into some practical uses of our multiplying of fractions. This 24 for today is 4, 11, 5, and 3. I'm not going to put any solutions this time because I want you guys to come up with one. Make sure when you turn in your homework, you put that in there so that we might have some fun ways to look at that. So that's with that. I'll take a step back, give you a chance to look at this. Again, this is area using those multiplication of fractions, things we've been working on. So if you haven't looked at the other videos, look at those first. Here we go. So, multiplying fractions, as we know, we talked about this. We can have 1/4 times by 3/8. We multiply it straight across, and we get our total here. It's 1 times 3 straight across for our numerators. Numerators multiplied by numerators. It is 3, and 4 times 8 is going to be 32. So we would have 3 32nds. Just a quick review there. So we're going to be looking at it in this way. Mr. Stanley is building something. I need to figure out the square footage of something. I have a 1 foot by 1 foot square. I am filling it with, we have a part that hasn't been eaten and we want to figure out how much is left. So we have eaten we have 1/3, and we have 3/5. We were trying to figure out what part of this we have left. So we know it can't be 1 foot square because it's only a part of it. Now, there's a couple different ways you can do this. So again, for area of a square or a rectangle, it is length times width. So our length for this one is 1/3. So lengthwise, it is 1/3. Widthwise, it is 3/5. Now, I could break this up into a different section to get kind of where our answer's at. So, we have breaking this up. We're trying to find the area if the length is 1/3 and the width is 3/5. So then we have 1/3. I'm gonna color that in. Okay. And then I have 3/5, so I have to cover this like this, guys. So I'm going to do fifths. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 3 of those fifths are going to be colored in. So we're looking at total amount that has both of these colored in. And after we get done with this one, I'll use one that I think is a better example to show you how that might correlate with square feet and things like that. So we have one more for this. This is just our simple multiplying them together. So we have 1/3 times by 3/5 equals, and we multiply it straight out, 3/15. We have 15 spots here. We have 3 that cross over. So for this one, it would be 3/15 feet squared. Now, that can be confusing, so I'm going to do something on this next one to make it make sense. So let's look at this. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to use a 1 foot square. Now, I'm going to use a couple different numbers that will help us out here. We have 2/3 length, and we have 3/4 width. Now, if you can multiply these or figure it out so your denominator equals something that makes sense in feet. So in this one, we look at how many inches are in a feet. We've got 12. So if we can get our denominator to 12, it can make sense. And this one does work out to 12. So it would be how many inches, you know, we've got our square feet into our inches. So what I mean by that is this. Now we could break it down into square inches. So if we break each foot into groups of 12, and this is going to take a little bit. I'm going to extend this out a little bit, guys. It'll just make sense. I'm going to use that line also. But basically we're breaking this into 12s, and I'm going to show you why this could be important. Because now instead of square feet, we can go into square inches, but we could still get it into our area for that. So there's 12 that way. Now I've got to go 12 this way. Okay, let me double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 12. So what I could do is I can convert these to use an equivalent fraction. 2/3. We said we're going to try to use 12s because we know that's how many inches are in there. So to get to 12, I've got to times by 4/4. So we have 8/12. Okay. So now I can kind of fill in that 8/12. This is our length, so fill in 8/12. Fill it in. I'm going this way because the other one will be the other way. So again, this is just a couple different ways of looking at it. And one more. There's 8/12. Now for 3/4, we'd kind of do the same thing. We could get this to 12, so that's 9/12. So we'd have to fill it in this way. And I could count all these up, guys. And it would show me that it's 9 times 8. So I have 72 out of 144 square inches. So I have 72 square inches in this. But we can still get the, the amount of square feet by, just like we did last time, 2/3 times by 3/4. This is feet though. So we are at 6/12, which we know that both of these equal 1/2. They're the same answers, but this gives us an answer in square inches. This one gives us, we have 1/2 a square foot. So, just a couple things there. Thought it'd be cool to show you guys that. Now, let's use some practical things. This is going to be a one problem thing. So, and I'm going to use something a little different. We're going to go into square yards. Okay? I've got a square yard. Mr. Stanley is building a garden box. I've got 1 yard by 1 yard. I'm going to see how big my box is going to be because I don't have quite a full yard. I have 3/8 yard. So this is number 1, guys. And we'll do 2 problems on this one, not as many just because it takes more. I have 3/8 yard material for one side, and I have 9/10 yard for the other side. Now, this is my length. This is my width. What would my area be? So remember, for your area, you're going to have, your area answer is going to be in yards squared. So let's see if you can figure that out. Remember, we've been working on that multiplying of fractions. So see if you can figure this out, and how big would what would my area of my garden box be if I built it using these? This is 3/8 yard by 9/10 yard. Again, using this in a practical form that we kind of might use right now, especially if you're building gardens. So look at that one. We'd love to see an answer on that one. what is the size of my box? Okay. Now, this one I'm going to ask you to see if you can draw it out. So, again, you could draw it in different ways. If we have 1 yard by 1 yard, I want your answer in a drawn form. Now, if it's 2/3 by 1/3, well, I can draw that out. So I make this into thirds, right? So I go, okay, I've got thirds here. I've got my 2. So what I'm really asking you guys is, what could you draw this out? So I did my thirds for my 1/3 now, because this is my length, this is my width, and now I have to cross 1/3 out, so it goes this way. So now I can see that it's going to be 2/3 yards. This next one, I want you to draw it out. I want you to show me how much it would cover. So this box would cover just this space, and it would be 2/9 a yard. Okay, so here's our next one. You draw your box that you want. I'm gonna give you a problem. So this is number 2. These are the only 2 problems on this one. Again, this is that practical use for what we're doing. Here we go. So I'll draw your yard box. And I'm going to have a little challenge on this one for you guys also. So now we have, let's go 3/4 for our 3/4 a yard for our length, and 3/8 yard for our width. Okay, so what's my area going to be? What's my area going to be? And I want to challenge a couple of you guys. If you want to make this a little harder, our area should be in yards squared. My challenge for some of you guys, and it's going to be a lot more difficult, is what would my feet squared area be? So you're going to have to figure out a way to make this into workable things, and with 8s it's going to be really difficult. So see if you can find that. It might be in a decimal or a fraction. It would be a decimal technically. So real challenge problem there for those of you that want to. This is the only one that I need done, but that's for a challenge one. Anyways, guys, hope you're doing well. This lesson's a little different, so it's more of a practical use application. I'll be continuing on with some other stuff. This is 11.5. Keep up the good work. Love to see your guys' responses, and have a great day.